Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to DDP Snake Pit. And of course, we couldn't do it without a pair of Hall of Famers. Jake the Snake Roberts, how are you, man?
Wonderful, man.
Excited to be here. And of course, we couldn't do it without the man himself, DDP. Dallas Page, what's going on, dude?
Dude, just happy to be here with the Snake, man. And people have been trying to get me to do a podcast forever. And then Snake kind of convinced me, let's just do it. And once we knew we had you on board, Conrad, what is this, number 8?
Yeah, number 8. Yes, sir.
That was the deal closer.
What the hell? He must know what the hell he's doing with this shit.
Well, we're excited to be here. And by now, everyone listening to this has seen the resurrection of Jake the Snake. And if you haven't, you should check it out on Amazon. But that's not really where you guys' story started. And we've all heard the story of how Dallas used to run nightclubs and then one day became a manager and then eventually got a late start becoming a wrestler. But that's not really the full story, right, Dallas?
Yeah, it kind of started way before that. I actually tried to wrestle back when I was 23 years old. And I had 3 matches. I hurt my knee. It put me out for about a month, and I got a chance to run this little rock and roll bar. And I've been in the bar business at that time for about 6 years. And I got a chance to run this little rock and roll bar. And I kind of got swept away from with the booze, the broads, and the party, and kind of forgot about the dream of going back to wrestling. And then WrestleMania happened. And this is 1979 when I run my 3 matches. And then going into the 80s, WrestleMania happened, and wrestling blew up huge. I was so pissed that I didn't pay my dues that I stopped watching wrestling. And years would go by, and I was down in Fort Myers, Florida, running a place called Norma Jean's Dance Club, 1986, and I was flicking the channels, and I came across Gorilla Monsoon. And that's actually the guy who gave me the name Tito Torres, who was a job guy, and he ended up training me and a guy named John Shipley. Bottom line is Gorilla was on. I was like, I'm going to watch a couple minutes. And I see this guy with a boa and a crazy pair of sunglasses and a do-rag, leather coat, and I'm like, who is this guy? It's Jesse Ventura. And I'm like, man, this guy's amazing. And the first guy to come through the curtain got a bag over his shoulder. And he's got the Fu Manchu with the long hair. And I'm like, who is this cat? Because to me, Jake had swag before people talked about swag. The way he approached the ring was like shit was on. So he immediately captivated me. But then when I saw his work in the ring and then heard him cut a promo, like I literally called my buddy John Shipley, who I originally started to train to be a wrestler back when I was 23. And I called him up and I go, bro, I know wrestling's a work. I mean, I know it's predetermined, all that, but I'm watching that guy, Jake the Snake Roberts. Like, man, I can't see through that guy's shit. I go, like, he's amazing. It's not like partial work, partial shoot, is it? And he said, stop being a mark. But that's what Jake had literally, that's what I took from it, his reality version of wrestling. And probably, about 6 months later, got this huge club. It's not huge, but it holds about 1,000 people, and it's packed. And it's a Saturday night, and I'm in my office, and I see up on the monitor, we have a front door and a back door. So I'm watching. I just happen to see someone walk in who just fills up the whole monitor. So I look down and I go, no way. And the club's too packed. So I run around the outside of the club. I come running in the front door. I go, Judy, did a guy walk in here look like Jake the Snake Roberts? She's like, yeah, Paige. Everybody thinks it's him. So I run in there, see Jake, and slow down because, you got to be cool. Can't just fanboy on Snake Man. So I work my way over towards him, and at some point I go, hey man, you Jake the Snake Roberts? Who wants to know? The guy who runs this place. Yes, what can I do for you? What are we drinking? And me and Jake got pretty hammered that night, but that's do you remember that night at all?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what's your version?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's basically the way it happened. Man.
Yeah.
There were a few other things involved, but we don't need to talk about them.
Yeah, but it was
Back in those days, you know, I wasn't running the straight and narrow, and you know, it was party time, man. The show was over, and it was time to get right. You know, people don't understand that when you come out of that ring, man, you've got so much energy and so much stuff running through you. There's no way you can go right to the hotel and lay down and go to sleep.
Right.
There's nobody in the world that can do that. You know, so you got to have an outlet. My outlet was cocktails and party favors and the occasional misguided lady.
And Jake at that point, he told, because of course I'm not going to charge him, so
I wouldn't have went in.
Yeah, he ended up telling all the boys, you work Miami and then you work Tampa, that's 300 miles. And Fort Myers is right there in the middle. So he just started, let the boys know, because next thing I know, Luke from the Bushwhackers is there, Ted DiBiase. I remember when Janetti and Michaels came through, and
that was a bad night.
it was a party central, man, and guys got to really to let go. And what it did for me, because I did all my own radio commercials back then, so I might throw into a, ooh, yeah, hot legs, dig it, $1,000 cash and prizes, ooh, yeah. I might just throw one of the boys. I could do Hulk back then really good, and Ventura and a bunch of the guys, and I just throw them in commercials, so people didn't know if they were really doing them or not, and they'd seen them for real, so it kind of gave the club a different level of credibility.
So, Jake, what was your first impression of DDP? I mean, if you've never met Dallas in real life, he's not a small man, and he's got a big personality.
No, he wasn't a small man, and he had a strong personality, and he had a voice that could be heard.
Yeah.
And I always like a guy that look in the eye. He'll look in the eye. He didn't back off. He didn't shy away, and he wasn't bullshit either. And that's the big thing, because the last thing you want to deal with is somebody that's just over the top, in your face. Hey man, what happened in this match? And what happened in that match? You don't want to talk wrestling. You want to set it aside for a while. And it might be unfair for the fans that come up to me, but man, at that time, you're wanting to come down. You don't want to keep rolling that way. And of course, when you get people like that, then there's always one guy in the crowd, usually the shortest guy there, that wants to, hey man, I bet I could take you, And that was a great thing about going to Dallas's club, is that we didn't have to watch our backs.
Right.
We knew we were safe, and that nothing silly or nothing mean was going to happen to us. And that's comfort zone.
Yeah. And it just, it opened up more, from my memory of wanting to be a wrestler, had to stem like where it ended up going from the guys coming in, and Jake came in probably about 2 or 3 times. So we knew each other more like bar buddies,
Absolutely.
But it's what got my brain clicking that one night I'm, walking around cashing the cash registers out, and my DJ, this is after hours, is playing Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And I'm just collecting the drawers. And we had 12 bartenders. And I just looked up at that screen to myself and said, rock and wrestling, I should have been a part of that. And that's what got me talking that night about wrestling, and how it all came together. I mean, how I developed Diamond Dallas Page, just talking smack in the back with my bartenders, drinking. And that's where Diamond Dallas Page completely came from. And later on, after I made a videotape and sent it to the AWA, never really thinking something's going to happen with it. And it did. And next thing you know, I'm on ESPN, and then doing Florida Championship Wrestling, and then WCW. And after 7 months, they wouldn't let me manage anymore. So I'm down the power plant training to be a wrestler.
Well, they couldn't have you managing, man, when you were bigger than your talent.
Well, I've been doing it for years. I just do that leg spread thing.
Yeah, right.
But that's where, one night, now what happened? You came into work with Sting, didn't you?
No, I seen you again when you came to the Marriott.
Where was that at?
Gwinnett.
Oh,
You
okay.
came over to the Marriott
Right,
because
right,
you'd
right.
heard that I'd split with my wife.
No, that was after. That was after. You had already come in. I was at the power plant.
You're right.
Right. And you come in and again, he knows who I am, but I'm just a bar guy from Florida. But he might have seen me around.
That's right.
Yeah, whether it was AWA or Florida Championship Wrestling or something. And he came in to work with Sting. I didn't know it at the time, but he came down to power plant. And all of a sudden I hear, Paige? And I turn around, I go, Jake. Came down, he's like, dude, I thought that was you, but I wasn't really sure. And then we just, we reunited. Now it became a little bit different because I was running with me and Kevin Nash were together as the Vegas connection. So now that Jake's coming in to work with Sting, and he thought it was going to turn into a really good contract, but Bill Watts would come in later, and those two did not get along at all. But Kevin Nash, and me, we would be like, we'll get the car, Jake, we'll get the bags. We just wanted to learn at the foot of Yoda, and we ended up, really spending some serious time together on the road. Remember when we got the car broke down?
Yeah. What a rip that was. Rick Rude, you son of a bitch.
God bless him, man.
Yes.
Rick Rude had, what was it? Like an Impala?
64 Impala.
Beautiful, mint condition, man. And I was driving
Jacksonville, Florida.
And Kevin's next to me. Jake's in the back. We got a case of beer. And we're freaking just going down I-10, which is completely black. And the car, the little generator light came on.
Not good.
And I was like, whoa, what the hell happened? The car just shut off. And then I reached over and I turned it back on. Jake goes, stop screwing around. I go, I'm not screwing around. The red light came on. So, go a little farther, red light came on again. Now the car dies. And we're on I-10, heading back towards Atlanta, and it's pitch dark.
Oh man!
And we
1 in the morning.
Pull the hood up, and none of us know anything about cars, So we're acting like we're looking and trying to look around, and nothing. And then I look up and I go to Kevin. I go, "Where'd Jake go?" He just started walking, and he disappeared into the abyss. So we can't leave the car there. And who's going to pick up 6'6", 6'4", and Kev 6'10"? Nobody's going to stop and see how we're doing. So me and Nash just pulled off on the side of the road, and we're drinking the beer. And about 3 hours later, here he comes with a big, I think one of the biggest tow trucks I've ever seen.
It was for 18-wheelers.
Yeah. He's in the front. He's got a beer. He toasts us as he's driving up. And we end up, the tow truck's going to take the car. Well, those three guys are in the front seat. There's no room for me. So I'm laying in the back of the Impala as we pull into the land of the Copenhagen dipping coupon, clipping draft beer, drinking rednecks.
Yeah.
And there must have been 40 of them at 4:30 in the morning.
They made a few phone calls and got all the boys down there.
Oh God, we were there for a while doing an autograph and photo section. And we got back to the hotel just enough time to take about an hour's sleep and then hop the plane the next day. And Rick Rude eventually got his car back.